The Galactic Empire's dominance over the known universe had gone unchallenged for millennia. Their immense fleets of advanced warships capable of subjugating any civilization that dared to resist. Yet, on a routine patrol near the obscure backwater planet called Earth, the Imperial forces were left utterly stunned when a colossal vessel, unlike anything they had ever encountered, suddenly materialized from the planet's orbit. Dwarfing even the mightiest of the Empire's warships, this mysterious supercarrier radiated an aura of power and technology that left the seasoned Imperial commanders unnerved. Its sleek, angular design and the faint hum of its propulsion systems suggested a level of engineering mastery that far exceeded the Galactic Empire's own capabilities. "By the Emperor's grace, what is that thing?" Captain Terius exclaimed, his usually steady voice betraying a hint of trepidation as he stared in awe at the gargantuan vessel that now dominated the view screen of his flagship. "Unknown, sir," the navigation officer replied, his fingers flying across the console as he desperately tried to gather any useful information about the strange craft. "All we know is that it appeared without warning, emerging from some kind of cloaked position in the planet's orbit. Its power signatures are off the charts. This ship is unlike anything we've ever encountered." Terius gripped the arms of his command chair, his knuckles turning white with tension. "Hail them. Demand they identify themselves and state their intentions. The Galactic Empire does not take kindly to unannounced visitors, especially those who arrive with such impressive displays of force." As the communication officer dutifully relayed the captain's orders, a tense silence fell over the bridge. The crew watched with bated breath, waiting for any response from the mysterious supercarrier. But seconds turned to minutes, and still the colossal vessel remained silent, unmoving as if it were a dormant predator, observing its prey with an unnerving calm. "They're not responding, sir," the communication officer reported, a hint of unease creeping into his voice. "I've tried every frequency, every method of communication we have on record, but there's nothing. Not even so much as a standard acknowledgement signal." Terius frowned, his brow furrowing in frustration. Damn these humans and their insolence. Do they not realize the gravity of their situation? They dare to defy the Galactic Empire with this display of technological superiority. The captain turned to his first officer, his expression hardening. "Prepare the fleet for a show of force. If these Earthlings refuse to cooperate, then we shall compel them to do so. I will not have our authority challenged by some backwater planet and its primitive inhabitants." The first officer hesitated, his gaze shifting nervously between the captain and the imposing supercarrier that loomed in the distance. "Sir, are you certain that's wise? That vessel has already demonstrated capabilities that surpass our own." Provoking it further cooled. "I will not be questioned, Commander." Terius snapped, his eyes narrowing dangerously. "The Galactic Empire does not back down from a challenge. Relay the orders. We move to encircle that supercarrier and bring these humans to heel. One way or another, they will submit to our will." As the first officer reluctantly relayed the captain's commands, the Imperial fleet began to maneuver, its powerful warships converging on the mysterious human vessel, their weapons systems primed and ready. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's dominance. As the Imperial fleet surrounded the colossal human supercarrier, a sense of unease and uncertainty hung thick in the air. The seasoned commanders of the Galactic Empire, accustomed to their forces' overwhelming technological and military superiority, found themselves unnerved by the silent, imposing presence of the mysterious vessel. "Sir, our ships are in position, weapons primed and ready," the first officer reported, his voice tinged with a hint of trepidation. But the humans still refused to respond to our hails. They seemed content to simply sit there, daring us to make the first move. Captain Terius regarded the supercarrier with a calculating gaze, his mind racing as he contemplated his next course of action. "Very well. Dispatch a diplomatic envoy to the human vessel, one of our most skilled negotiators. Make it clear that we come in peace, and that we seek only to understand the purpose of their presence here." The first officer nodded, swiftly relaying the orders to the waiting fleet. Within minutes, a sleek diplomatic shuttle detached from the Imperial flagship, its elegant design and the prominent insignia of the Galactic Empire emblazoned upon its hull, a symbol of the Empire's might and authority. As the shuttle approached the Supercarrier, its pilot hailed the massive vessel, broadcasting a message of goodwill and a request for peaceful dialogue. Yet, as before, the humans remained silent, their vessel impassive and unresponsive, seemingly indifferent to the Empire's overtures. Frustration began to build among the Imperial commanders, their confidence slowly giving way to a growing sense of unease. "This is unacceptable," Tyrius growled, his fist slamming against the armrest of his chair. "These Earthlings dare to treat the Galactic Empire with such contempt. Dispatch another envoy, and make it clear that we will not be ignored." The first officer hesitated, his eyes darting nervously toward the Supercarrier. "Sir, I must advise caution. These humans have already demonstrated a level of technological superiority that we cannot ignore. Provoking them further may—" "I will not be questioned, Commander," Tyrius snapped, his jaw clenching with barely contained rage. "The Galactic Empire does not bow to the whims of primitive civilizations. We are the masters of this galaxy, and these humans will learn their place, whether they wish it or not." Sensing the captain's unwavering determination, the first officer reluctantly complied, ordering the dispatch of a second diplomatic shuttle. This time, the envoy carried a more forceful message, demanding that the humans acknowledge the authority of the Galactic Empire and submit to its rule. As the shuttle approached the Supercarrier, the Imperial fleet stood ready, their weapons systems primed and awaiting the captain's order. The tension on the bridge was palpable, the crew holding their breath in anticipation of the humans' response. Yet, once again, the Supercarrier remained silent and unmoving, its massive presence a silent challenge to the Empire's dominance. The diplomatic shuttle hovered near the vessel, its pilot repeating the ultimatum, only to be met with the same eerie silence. Tyrius clenched his jaw, his knuckles white with the force of his grip on the armrests. "So be it," he growled, his voice laced with a mixture of frustration and a growing sense of unease. "Prepare to open fire. If these Earthlings will not bend the knee, then we shall make them understand the consequences of defying the Galactic Empire." As the Imperial fleet readied its weapons, the fate of the confrontation hung in the balance, the outcome poised to forever alter the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. As the Imperial fleet surrounded the massive human supercarrier, the tension aboard the Galactic Empire's flagship was palpable. Captain Tyrius and his seasoned commanders had grown increasingly frustrated by the humans' refusal to acknowledge the Empire's authority, let alone submit to it. Now, with weapons primed and ready, they prepared to demonstrate the true might of the Empire's forces. "All ships, hold your fire," Tyrius ordered, his voice stern and unyielding. "I want a full tactical analysis of that vessel's capabilities before we engage. We cannot afford to underestimate these Earthlings again." The first officer nodded, relaying the captain's commands to the fleet. Immediately, the Imperial ships began to deploy a network of advanced sensor drones, their sophisticated instrumentation probing the supercarrier's every system, searching for any weaknesses or vulnerabilities. Minute by minute, the data streamed in, painting an increasingly concerning picture for the Imperial commanders. The supercarrier's power output far exceeded anything in the Empire's arsenal, its shields and armor seemingly impenetrable to even the most advanced weaponry. And the strange energy readings detected from its propulsion systems suggested a level of technological mastery that defied the Galactic Empire's understanding of physics. "By the Emperor's grace," the first officer breathed, his eyes widening as he studied the sensor readouts. "This vessel's capabilities surpass anything we've ever encountered. Its shields are able to deflect even our most powerful energy weapons, and its propulsion system appears to defy the very laws of—" "Enough," Tyrius interrupted, his expression hardening. "I will not accept defeat so easily. There must be a way to breach those defenses, to bring this insolent human craft under our control. The first officer hesitated, his brow furrowing with concern. Sir, I must caution against any rash actions. If we underestimate these humans again, the consequences could be catastrophic. Perhaps it would be prudent to... Prudent. Tyrius spat, his voice dripping with disdain. Since when has the Galactic Empire cowered in the face of a challenge? No, we will not retreat. We will not be intimidated by these Earthlings and their mysterious technology. The captain turned to the weapons officer, his gaze unwavering. Prepare a concentrated barrage of our most advanced ordnance. If those shields cannot be breached, then we shall overwhelm them with sheer firepower. The weapons officer nodded, his fingers flying across the console as he input the targeting coordinates. Aye, sir. All ships are ready to engage on your command. Tyrius took a deep breath, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the looming supercarrier. For the glory of the Galactic Empire, he declared, his voice ringing with conviction. Fire. As the Imperial fleet unleashed a devastating volley of energy beams and guided missiles, the massive human vessel stood resolute, its shields shimmering with an otherworldly intensity. The barrage continued for several agonizing minutes, the air thick with the roar of the weapons and the crackle of energy. But to the horror of the Imperial commanders, their assault had little effect. The supercarrier's defenses held firm, shrugging off the relentless bombardment as if it were nothing more than a light drizzle. And as the smoke cleared, the vessel remained unscathed, a silent, ominous reminder of the Earthlings' technological superiority. Tyrius stared at the viewscreen, his jaw clenched in a mix of disbelief and growing dread. Impossible, he whispered, his voice barely audible. What manner of beings have we encountered? The fate of the Galactic Empire's confrontation with the mysterious human supercarrier now hung in the balance, as the full extent of the humans' capabilities had been revealed, shattering the Empire's confidence and leaving its commanders to grapple with the sobering realization that their technological and military dominance may no longer be absolute. The Imperial fleet's devastating barrage against the human supercarrier had failed to produce any meaningful results, leaving the Galactic Empire's seasoned commanders in a state of stunned disbelief. Their most advanced weapons and technologies had simply been brushed aside by the vessel's impenetrable defenses, shattering their confidence and challenging the very foundations of the Empire's dominance. Impossible, Captain Tyrius muttered, his knuckles white as he gripped the arms of his command chair. How can this be? Our firepower should have been more than enough to breach those shields, to bring that accursed ship under our control. The first officer stood beside him, his expression tense and wary. Sir, I must insist that we reconsider our approach. These humans have demonstrated capabilities that far surpass our own. Continuing to provoke them could have catastrophic consequences for the Empire. Tyrius turned to face his subordinate, his eyes narrowing dangerously. Reconsider? Consequences? Need I remind you of the oath you swore to the Galactic Emperor? The Empire does not back down from a challenge, nor does it tolerate defiance from primitive civilizations such as this. The first officer held his ground, his voice firm but respectful. With all due respect, Captain, the humans have already proven that they are anything but primitive. Their technology is clearly far more advanced than our own, and they have shown a willingness to use it against us. Antagonizing them further may very well lead to our own destruction. Tyrius opened his mouth to retort, but before he could speak, the communication officer's urgent voice cut through the tension on the bridge. Sir, the human vessel is powering up its weapons systems. They're targeting our ships. The captain whirled around, his eyes widening as he watched the massive supercarrier's hull begin to glow with an eerie, ominous light. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Prepare to. His order was cut short as the supercarrier unleashed a devastating barrage of energy beams, each one capable of crippling even the most formidable Imperial warship. The bridge shuddered violently as the flagship was struck, the crew thrown off balance by the sheer force of the impact. Shields down to 40%. the first officer shouted, his voice strained with the effort of maintaining his footing. "We're sustaining heavy damage across the fleet." Tyrius gripped the edge of the console, his face contorted with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "Impossible. How can this be happening? Return fire, all ships. Annihilate that wretched vessel." The Imperial fleet desperately tried to retaliate, but their weapons proved woefully inadequate against the Supercarrier's advanced shielding and firepower. One by one, the Empire's warships were crippled, their hulls breached, and their crews left to the cold, unforgiving vacuum of space. Amid the chaos and destruction, Tyrius stood transfixed, his mind racing as he tried to comprehend the unfolding scene. The Galactic Empire, a force that had conquered countless civilizations, was now being humbled by this mysterious human supercarrier, a vessel that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. "By the Emperor," he whispered, his voice tinged with a sense of dread and disbelief. "What have we unleashed?" As the battle raged on, the Imperial fleet found itself outmatched and outgunned, their once vaunted technology and military might rendered utterly insignificant in the face of the humans' overwhelming power. The fate of the Galactic Empire now hung in the balance, its very foundations threatened by the sudden and terrifying emergence of this formidable human adversary. The Galactic Empire, a civilization that had long ruled the stars with an iron fist, now found itself in an unprecedented quandary. The sudden and devastating display of power by the human supercarrier had shaken the very foundations of their authority, leaving the Empire's seasoned commanders grappling with a profound sense of unease and uncertainty. As the battered Imperial fleet regrouped, limping away from the scene of their humiliating defeat, Captain Tyrius and his advisors convened in the flagship's war room, their faces etched with a mixture of frustration and growing dread. "This is an unmitigated disaster," Tyrius growled, his fist slamming against the holotable, causing the display to flicker. "Our mightiest warships reduced to scrap metal by that abomination. How can this be?" The first officer, his uniform singed and his expression grave, spoke up tentatively. "Sir, I believe we have no choice but to reconsider our approach. Clearly, the humans possess technological capabilities that far surpass our own. Continuing to engage them openly would be an act of sheer folly." Tyrius fixed the first officer with a withering glare. "And what do you propose, then? That we simply surrender to these primitive earthlings and acknowledge their superiority? The Galactic Empire does not bow to the whims of lesser civilizations." "I do not suggest surrender, Captain," the first officer countered, his voice steady and measured. "But we must explore alternative avenues. Diplomacy, perhaps even subterfuge, to uncover the secrets of this supercarrier and the true extent of the humans' technological prowess." The Admiral, a seasoned veteran who had witnessed the rise and fall of countless empires, cleared his throat, drawing the attention of the room. "The commander makes a valid point. We cannot afford to underestimate these earthlings again. If we are to maintain our dominance, we must be willing to adapt, to explore new strategies that may go against the traditional ways of the Empire." Tyrius opened his mouth to protest, but the Admiral raised a hand, silencing him. "I understand your concerns, Captain, but the reality is that we now face an adversary whose capabilities we cannot simply overwhelm through brute force. We must tread carefully, lest we risk the complete collapse of the Galactic Empire's authority." The captain's jaw clenched, his eyes narrowing as he mulled over the Admiral's words. After a long, tense moment, he let out a resigned sigh and nodded. "Very well, I will consider your proposal. But know this, I will not tolerate any further challenges to the Empire's might. Whatever it takes, we must find a way to either subjugate or neutralize this human supercarrier." The Admiral inclined his head in acknowledgement. "Understood, Captain. I will have our most skilled diplomats and intelligence operatives prepare a comprehensive strategy. We must uncover the secrets of this vessel, and quickly, before the situation spirals further out of our control." As the meeting adjourned, the Galactic Empire found itself at a crossroads, its once unassailable power now threatened by the sudden and unexpected emergence of a technological marvel that defied the very foundations of their interstellar dominance. The fate of the Empire hung in the balance, and the decisions made in the days to come would determine whether they would rise to the challenge or succumb to the might of this formidable human adversary. The Galactic Empire's fleet had barely recovered from its humiliating defeat at the hands of the human Supercarrier when the colossal vessel suddenly vanished from its position in Earth's orbit, leaving the Imperial commanders in a state of bewilderment and growing unease. "What sorcery is this?" Captain Terius exclaimed, his eyes narrowing as he studied the sensor data displayed on the holotable before him. One moment the human's accursed ship is towering over us. The next it simply disappears into thin air. The first officer, his brow furrowed in concentration, shook his head. The sensors detect no signs of a warp jump or any other known method of faster-than-light travel. It's as if the vessel simply blinked out of existence. Terius slammed his fist against the table, causing the holograms to flicker and distort. Unacceptable. How can the Galactic Empire's most advanced technology be so utterly outmatched by these primitive Earthlings? The Admiral, who had been quietly observing the proceedings, cleared his throat, drawing the attention of the room. "Captain, I believe this development, as perplexing as it may be, presents us with an opportunity." Terius turned to face the seasoned officer, his expression a mix of frustration and curiosity. "An opportunity? Pray tell, what opportunity could possibly come from this? This humiliation?" The disappearance of the Supercarrier suggests that the humans may have detected our attempts to gather intelligence on their vessel, the Admiral explained, his voice calm and measured. "This means they are aware of our interest, and perhaps even our intentions." The first officer's eyes widened with realization, which in turn means they may be wary of our next move. If we proceed cautiously, we could potentially lull them into a false sense of security, allowing us to observe them more closely without risking further confrontation. Terius considered the Admiral's words, his mind racing as he weighed the implications. "You propose we retreat then? Allow these Earthlings to believe they have intimidated the Galactic Empire into submission?" The Admiral shook his head. "Not submission, Captain, but rather a tactical withdrawal. We must regroup, reassess our options, and gather as much intelligence as possible before engaging the humans again. Rushing headlong into another confrontation would be a grievous error." Terius let out a frustrated sigh, his gaze shifting from the Admiral to the first officer and back again. "Very well," he conceded, albeit reluctantly. "We will withdraw the fleet and dispatch a small contingent of reconnaissance ships to monitor the Earthlings from a safe distance. But know this, the moment we uncover a weakness, a chink in their armor, I will not hesitate to bring the full might of the Galactic Empire down upon them." The Admiral inclined his head in acknowledgement. "Understood, Captain. I will ensure the reconnaissance mission is carried out with the utmost discretion and efficiency. With any luck, we may yet find a way to neutralize this human threat without risking the collapse of our interstellar dominance." As the Imperial fleet began its withdrawal, a sense of unease and uncertainty hung heavy in the air. The Galactic Empire, for the first time in its long and storied history, found itself facing an adversary whose capabilities it could not simply overpower. The fate of their civilization now rested on the success of this covert intelligence-gathering operation, a test that would determine whether the Empire could adapt and overcome this unprecedented challenge, or be forever humbled by the might of Earth's mysterious supercarrier. As the Galactic Empire's main fleet withdrew from the vicinity of Earth, a smaller contingent of reconnaissance ships remained behind, their crews tasked with observing the humans and their mysterious supercarrier from a safe distance. Captain Laren, the commander of this covert operation, understood the gravity of the situation all too well. The humiliation suffered by the Empire's forces at the hands of the human vessel had shaken the very foundations of their interstellar dominance, and the failure to uncover even the most basic secrets of its technology was a bitter pill to swallow. "We cannot afford another such defeat," Laren murmured, his gaze fixed on the holographic display that showed the inconspicuous planet below. "The Emperor's trust, and the future of the Empire itself, rests on our ability to gather the intelligence needed to counter this threat." The first officer, a seasoned veteran with a keen eye for detail, nodded in agreement. "Agreed, sir. Our sensors have already detected unusual energy signatures and propulsion systems, unlike anything in the Galactic Empire's arsenal. If we can decipher the underlying principles behind these technologies, it may provide the key to neutralizing the human supercarrier." Laren's brow furrowed in concentration as he studied the data streaming in from the reconnaissance drones. This level of engineering mastery is truly unprecedented. How can a civilization we've long dismissed as primitive possess such advanced capabilities? The first officer hesitated, his expression uncertain. "Perhaps, Captain, we have been too quick to judge the humans. Their apparent technological superiority may be a reflection of a deeper understanding of the universe, one that we have yet to comprehend." Laren's gaze snapped up, his eyes narrowing. "Speak not such heresy, Commander. The Galactic Empire's dominance is absolute, or at least it was, until these Earthlings emerged from their backwater planet to challenge our supremacy." The first officer held up a placating hand. "I mean no disrespect, sir. I merely suggest that we approach this investigation with an open mind, lest we risk missing crucial insights that could mean the difference between victory and defeat." Laren considered the officer's words, his expression softening slightly. "Very well. I will heed your counsel, but know this. The future of the Galactic Empire rests upon the information we gather here. Failure is not an option." With renewed determination, the reconnaissance team immersed themselves in the study of Earth and its inhabitants, their probes and sensors delving deeper into the mysteries surrounding the human supercarrier. From the complex algorithms governing its advanced shields to the enigmatic power source that fueled its otherworldly propulsion, no detail was too small to escape their scrutiny. As the days turned to weeks, the Imperial officers found themselves increasingly awed and humbled by the depth of human ingenuity. The level of scientific and engineering expertise displayed by this seemingly primitive civilization was nothing short of astonishing, shattering the preconceptions that had long defined the Galactic Empire's view of the galaxy. Laren, once a staunch defender of the Empire's supremacy, found his resolve wavering. The more he learned about the humans, the more he began to question the very foundations of his beliefs. Could it be possible that this backwater planet held the key to the Galactic Empire's future, rather than its downfall? As the reconnaissance mission continued, the fate of the Empire hung in the balance, the outcome of this covert investigation poised to determine whether the galactic rulers would forge a new path forward or cling desperately to their waning authority. As the Galactic Empire's reconnaissance team delved deeper into the mysteries surrounding Earth and its advanced technologies, the seasoned officers found themselves undergoing a profound transformation in their worldview. Captain Laren, once a staunch defender of the Empire's unassailable supremacy, had slowly but surely come to the realization that the humans' capabilities far exceeded even his most optimistic projections. The level of scientific and engineering expertise displayed by this seemingly primitive civilization was nothing short of staggering, shattering the preconceptions that had long defined the Galactic Empire's understanding of the galaxy. "This is unprecedented," Laren murmured, his gaze fixed on the holodisplays that showcased the intricate schematics of the human supercarrier. The power systems, the shielding, the propulsion, all of it defies our most advanced theories of physics and technology. The first officer, who had accompanied Laren on this covert mission, nodded in agreement, his expression a mix of awe and trepidation. "Indeed, Captain. These Earthlings possess capabilities that we can scarcely comprehend, let alone replicate. The implications for the Galactic Empire are profound." Laren turned to face his subordinate, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "You speak truly, Commander. The very foundations of our interstellar dominance are being challenged by the emergence of this human supercarrier. If we cannot find a way to counter, or at the very least, understand their technology, then the future of the Empire may be in jeopardy. The first officer hesitated, his brow furrowed in concentration. Sir, I must confess, I am no longer certain that confronting the humans is the wisest course of action. Their apparent willingness to use their advanced weaponry against us, combined with their ability to simply vanish from our sensors, suggests a level of caution and strategic thinking that we have clearly underestimated. Laren nodded slowly, his expression thoughtful. You make a valid point, Commander. Antagonizing these Earthlings further may very well lead to our own destruction. Perhaps it is time we consider an alternative approach, one that seeks to understand, and, if possible, forge an alliance with this remarkable civilization. The first officer's eyes widened with surprise. An alliance, sir, with the very beings who have humbled the might of the Galactic Empire. Surely, such a proposition would be met with fierce resistance from the Emperor and his advisors. Laren raised a hand, silencing the officer. I am well aware of the potential backlash, Commander, but consider the implications. If we can unlock the secrets of their technology, if we can harness the power of their supercarrier, then the Galactic Empire would be unstoppable. No civilization, not even the mightiest, would dare to challenge our authority. The first officer's expression shifted from one of uncertainty to cautious optimism. You make a compelling argument, Captain, and if we are successful, the benefits to the Empire would be incalculable. Laren nodded, a rare glimmer of determination flickering in his eyes. Then it is settled. We shall return to the Imperial capital and present our findings to the Emperor. With any luck, he will see the wisdom in pursuing a diplomatic solution to this crisis, one that could ultimately cement the Galactic Empire's dominance over the stars for generations to come. As the reconnaissance team prepared for their return journey, a newfound sense of purpose and optimism began to take hold. The Galactic Empire, once poised to crush the defiant Earthlings, now found itself considering a path forward that would require a profound shift in its approach to interstellar relations, one that could forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy.